Take a look at your hands. If you're wearing a ring, a watch, any piece of gold, you're wearing a ghost. A 4 billion-year-old remnant of an impossible explosion that happened light years from here, long before the Earth was even born. The metal in that ring wasn't forged in mountains or mined from the deep. It was born in the heart of a dying star and delivered to us by a cosmic bombardment that nearly shattered our world. This isn't just a story about a precious metal. It's the story of how the universe seeded our planet with treasure, and how a strange quirk of physics, born in that stellar chaos, makes this metal shine with the color of the sun. This is the shocking origin of the element that built empires, destroyed civilizations, and now underpins the entire global economy. 4.5 billion years ago, our planet was a hellscape, a molten ball of rock and metal spinning in the dark. In this primordial chaos, any heavy elements that were present, iron, nickel, and yes, gold, did something predictable. They sank. Pulled by gravity, they plunged through the liquid rock, migrating down to the planet's core. For millions of years, this process continued, a planetary cleansing. The Earth's crust was left barren, stripped of its most precious materials. If you were to stand on this early, desolate world, you would find no gold, not a single flake. The entire planetary supply was locked away, thousands of miles beneath your feet, completely inaccessible. For all practical purposes, the Earth was worthless. But far away, in the cold vacuum of space, something violent was brewing. The universe was a much more chaotic place then. Stars were being born and dying at a furious rate. And some of these stars were monsters, giants, hundreds of times more massive than our own sun. They lived fast, and they died hard. For millions of years, a star like this would burn, fusing hydrogen into helium, then helium into carbon, creating heavier and heavier elements in its core. But it could only go so far. The process would eventually hit a wall. Iron. Fusing iron doesn't release energy. It consumes it. The star's furnace would sputter out. And then, in an instant, the delicate balance between gravity and energy would be broken. The star's own immense weight would come crashing down on its core. The rebound from this collapse is one of the most powerful events in the known universe. A supernova. A single star exploding with the light of 100 billion suns. The temperatures and pressures in that cataclysm are so extreme, they defy imagination. It is in these final fleeting seconds of a star's life that the universe performs its most profound act of alchemy. Iron atoms are bombarded with a storm of neutrons, forcing them to swell, to become unstable, to transform. In less time than it takes to blink, iron becomes cobalt becomes nickel, and on, up the periodic table. And in that fiery crucible, gold is finally born. But even a supernova isn't always enough. The universe has an even more violent spectacle. Imagine 2 neutron stars, the collapsed, city-sized cores left behind by supernovae, so dense that a single teaspoon of their matter would weigh billions of tons. For eons, they orbit each other, locked in a gravitational death spiral. They spin faster and faster, warping space-time itself, until finally, they collide. This event, a kilonova, is 100 times brighter than a supernova. It's a cataclysm that literally rips apart the fabric of reality. And in this collision, a fountain of heavy elements is sprayed across the cosmos. A torrent of platinum, uranium, and vast shimmering clouds of pure, freshly minted gold. For hundreds of millions of years, this celestial shrapnel, the guts of dead stars, drifted through the galaxy. It clumped together with dust and ice, forming the building blocks of new solar systems. Asteroids, comets, dirty cosmic snowballs, unremarkable from the outside, but seeded with the treasure of the stars. And some of them were on a collision course. Back on Earth, life was just beginning to stir. The planet had cooled. Oceans had formed. But the crust was still poor, still missing the key ingredients for what was to come. And then, the sky began to fall. Around 4 billion years ago, our solar system passed through a dense, chaotic region of space. The result was a period we now call the Late Heavy Bombardment. It wasn't just a few stray meteorites. It was a relentless, planet-sterilizing assault that lasted for over 200 million years. The Moon, with no atmosphere to protect it, still bears the scars of this era. Its face is a map of this ancient violence. The Earth was pummeled by thousands of asteroids, some the size of entire countries. The impacts were apocalyptic. They vaporized oceans, melted the crust, and sent shockwaves rippling through the planet. Each impact was an extinction-level event, but these messengers of death were also delivering a gift. They were the celestial armored trucks, carrying the gold forged in distant stars. Because they arrived after the Earth's core had already formed, the gold they carried didn't sink. It was splattered across the surface, mixing with the molten rock of the impact craters. As the planet healed and the crust re-solidified, this cosmic gold was peppered throughout the upper layers of the Earth. Not in giant veins, but scattered like dust. It was this alien delivery system that seeded our world with the gold that humanity would one day discover. Every nugget ever found, every ounce stored in a vault, is an extraterrestrial artifact. But the story gets stranger. The reason gold looks the way it does, that warm, yellow, incorruptible shine, is a direct consequence of its violent cosmic birth. Gold is heavy. Its nucleus is packed with 79 protons and over 100 neutrons, a dense core created in that stellar forge. This immense positive charge pulls its surrounding electrons into a tight orbit, so tight that they begin to approach the speed of light. And this is where Einstein's theory of relativity kicks in. As the electrons accelerate to relativistic speeds, they effectively become heavier. This changes the energy levels of the atom. Most metals, silver, iron, aluminum, reflect all wavelengths of light more or less equally, which is why they look silvery gray. Their electrons can absorb and re-emit photons from across the visible spectrum. But gold's relativistic electrons behave differently. They are forced to absorb the higher energy blue and violet light. What's left to be reflected back to our eyes is the opposite end of the spectrum, the lower energy yellows and reds. Gold's color is literally a trick of relativistic physics. You are not just seeing a metal, you are seeing the theory of relativity made manifest in an object you can hold in your hand. Its shine, its color, its very essence is a scar left over from the chaos of its creation. For millennia, humans didn't know any of this, but they felt it. They saw a substance that didn't tarnish or rust, a piece of the sun you could hold in your hand. The ancient Egyptians believed gold was the skin of the gods. The Incas called it the sweat of the sun. It was rare, it was beautiful, and it was eternal. And so we dug for it. We panned rivers for it. We crushed mountains for it. We fought wars over it. We built entire economies on the promise that this yellow metal, this stardust, had intrinsic value. From the Spanish conquistadors, melting down priceless Inca artifacts into bullion, to the California gold rush that built the American West, the story of humanity is inextricably linked to the quest for this alien element. We created a system where we would dig gold out of a hole in the ground in one country, melt it down, ship it across the world, and bury it in another hole in the ground called a vault. And we called this system finance. It controls the price of everything you buy, the value of the money in your pocket. The entire complex machine of our global civilization is balanced on a foundation of a metal that doesn't even belong here. When you look at the stars at night, you're looking at a field of cosmic factories. Some of them are churning out the carbon in your body, the oxygen you breathe, and a very few, in their final violent moments, are forging the gold that might be on your finger. It's a reminder that even the most grounded earthly symbols of wealth and power have their origins in the unimaginable chaos of the cosmos. The gold we value so dearly isn't just a metal. It's a message from a dead star, delivered on a rock, 4 billion years ago. It's a tangible piece of the universe's violent, beautiful, and utterly alien history. And it's been controlling ours ever since. Thank you for joining us on this cosmic journey. If you found this story as fascinating as we do, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more stories about the hidden connections between our world and the universe.